Hi, welcome to Farnet Pi videos. This is DC here, and in this video I'm going to show you how to use the UID changeable tags using ACR122u reader writer. These UID changeable tags are also referred to as the Chinese UID changeable tags. Now this is not the first time I've done videos on UID changeable tags. So it was almost an year and a half ago I've made around 7 videos that shows you how to change the UID and how to change the block 0, and these videos are available in a separate playlist, so I would advise you to go through that. And since then we have learned a couple of extra bits about these tags and also a different way of understanding UID changeable tags. That's what I'm going to cover in this video. And one more thing which is covered in my all these videos are I've shown how to change the block 0 using the MFRC 522 reader writer using Arduino. And I've also mentioned in these videos that there is a library, looks like this is the original library for MFRC 522 and Arduino. And if you come from the Arduino programming background, in fact you don't have to do any programming in order to change the block 0 of UID changeable tags. You just have to know how to download the libraries and how to compile using Arduino IDE and upload these files to Arduino. There are quite a number of good examples here. The one you'd be interested on this topic is the change UID. It's is this example. I've done a walkthrough on this example in my previous videos, and if something goes wrong and if you come across a UID changeable tag that is not recognized by any reader writer, there is also a fix for that, which is called fix bricked UID. If you're really interested in knowing how these things, the block 0 is changed, you have to go through and understand the library which is in the source. So it's a very simple to understand as well. Now this is what I'll be covering in this video. Just a little bit of an overview. Probably some of these things will be a repetition if you have seen my previous videos. These UID changeable tags are the MIFI Classic compatible tags. So some of the features are the block 0, which is not modifiable from the original NXP MIFI Classic tags, whereas here in UID changeable tags you can modify the block 0, which consists of the 4-byte UID, the BCC, this is a checksum, and the manufacturer data. So the MIFI Classic tags were very popular maybe since maybe 5, 6, 10 years ago, and I'm not sure whether the MIFI Classic tags are still used in any new project. I myself personally don't use these MIFI Classic tags for any of my new project because there's a well documented thing available on internet that says the MIFI Classic are hackable, the clonable, and knowing these things, I would not want to take any risk using this tags in new projects. So if you want to do any new project using the MIFI Classics, see, MIFI Classic has got a very interesting internal architecture. It suits a multiple application type of projects. So there is a newer version, the version 1 of the MIFI Classic tags called MIFI Classic EV1, which have made few videos explaining some of the advantages of EV1. So the good thing is this supports a 7-byte UID and supports a random IDs, and it carries the NXP, the original signature. So see, these UID changeable tags are not manufactured by NXP at all. So I have not come across any UID changeable similar to MIFI Classic, UID changeable tags for MIFI Classic EV1 type of tags. I've not come across or not heard about that. So every tag carries a signature from NXP, so we can use that signature to identify that these tags are authentic. And so far I've not heard about any clonable clones of EV1. And finally, so the other thing, which probably a bit hidden at the end of the slide is I'm also going to show you what to do when something goes wrong. So you can see here I've connected my ACR122u reader writer, and I'll be using the software called ACR122 Made Easy. These are some of the documentation I would advise to read if you really want to know more about how the UIDs are handled. This is one of the very nice document to read. So here it explains how the UIDs are used, and a couple of interesting things here as well. Now if you want to know more about some of the commands used in this read and write UID changeable tags, so it's that's a good documentation. That's PN532 user manual. The reason that the ACR122 reader writer is based on PN532 chipset, so all the commands I'll be using are well documented in this document. Okay, it's a very huge document, 200-page document, but it's if you're interested to know more about the PN532 command, this is one of the document or advice to keep as a reference. So you can see here I've got two UID changeable tags. This one is as a card, the other one as a key fob, and you can buy these things from eBay or Amazon.com. So the software is ACR122 Made Easy, which I've been using in all my previous tutorials. As I mentioned before, if you don't have the software, not to worry, there's a lot of information, there's a lot of knowledge in this video as well. So the first thing is we are going to connect, then I'm going to choose the UID changeable screen. Now this is a very tiny little screen. So the first thing you do is let's try to change the UID and the block 0, and then I'm going to tell you what the problems could come across and how to solve it. So I have got a UID changeable tag. The first thing you do is activate. So the commands you see here are the ACR122u APDUs. So you can see here the UID is 30314151. This in fact it's not the actual a correct a proper UID. This is, I've already played with this tag. So the first thing you do is you have to authenticate. Again, all these commands are related to ACR122u command. This is the way you authenticate the MIFI Classic using a key A. Because I'm using a brand new tag, the key A is all FFs. So I'm sure when you get a new tag, your key will also be this FFs. Now I'm not going to mention anything about key A or key B. Keep it key A. Most new tags will be you'll be done everything using key A. So now the authentication is done. So this is where you change the UID and the manufacturer data. Now totally this belongs to block 0, and block 0 has got 16 bytes. The first 4 bytes are the UID. The 5th byte, so it's grayed out here, you cannot change because this is the checksum. So I'm going to change this UID to, say for example, 90, say 998712, and hit this button, write. Now after some time you should hear a beep sound in ACR122. And just quickly go through these commands again. I'm not going to go in detail because I've spent a lot of time explaining this in my old videos. So the first step is there's a command used to write the register, and if you want to know more about that, I already showed you the PN532 user manual. So the write register, this is tweaking the values of a transmit and the receiver registers of PN532, and after that we send a halt command. Now this is the type A, the halt command, which is 5000 and 57CD is the CRC. In fact, if you look in details about the values of these the write register command, it basically tells not to compute the CRC. So that's what it is. So here the halt command is 5000 followed by CRC. Now we have got no choice in here because this is what the UID changeable tag manufacturers have told us to do. So we just have to go with that. Then again we want to change the bit framing to send 7 bits. There is a command called write register, followed by, these are the important commands. It's called the backdoor command 40. You have to send that and you get a response here, and you have to make sure the responses match exactly what is here. And after that you again change the bit framing to 8 bits and send this one more backdoor command 43, and after that you change the transmit and receive register back to a normal operation, and then we are going to write the entire block 0. So here you can see that the UID, the first 4 bytes is present and everything is kept as it is. The value of BCC is auto computed by the software, because if you give a wrong BCC, this tag becomes unreadable. Then after that there is a halt command. This is the PN532 command. So it says everything is fine. You got a nice positive message here. If you go and click activate, you can see that the UID command, the get data command, is returning the modified UID. You can authenticate. Okay, so that is now this time probably I'm going to change both, or just assume that this is the UID I want to put my own data. Okay, just clear that. You have to hit this button again. Now everything looks okay. If you try to activate and authenticate, and keep in mind, without authentication you cannot read anything from the MIFI tags. You have to activate this first, and you can see that this is the data. Or try again, choose this tag, activate. Yeah, you can see that we are able to write block 0. So what if things go wrong? I'm going to try that thing on this key fob. This is also UID changeable key fobs. Activate. Now things can go wrong when you key in a UID that is not valid, and when you key in the BCC value. If you're doing through this software, it's not possible to key in a wrong BCC value. However, the software doesn't validate the UID. So I'll tell you what is invalid UID. Any UID, a 4-byte UID starting with 88 becomes an invalid UID. Now the reason for that is you have to go back and read the UID, the documentation which I showed you. So the first byte is called as a, so for example, that tags come with the 4-byte UID and 7-byte UID, and there's also mentioned about 10-byte UID. I'm not sure whether there's any tags with 10-byte UID. So in a 7-byte UID, say for example the MiFair, Ultralight or DES5, the UID 0 will have the value 88, which is called as a cascade tag value. So because of this, if you have a UID 0 set to 88, then the reader thinks the card is a 7-byte UID, and obviously it's going to fail the very first activation step. Now I could have done some validation here, because see, this is a tool, it's a learning tool, so I want you to learn that these things can create a problem. So I'm going to make 88 and first authenticate, and I'm going to change the tag to it's enough to change the first byte to 88 and write. Obviously now at the end of this sequence of steps, you do not get any beeps on, so that indicates that the ACR122 is not able to auto detect this tag. And if you try to activate, now it's an error, you can't do anything. So let's try this again. Now even because the ACR122 has a default auto pooling set to on, as soon as I bring a valid tag, you can see that you get a flashing green, and it also beeps. But if I bring this tag which has an invalid tag UID, you can see that there is no flashing LED at all. It's still red. Red indicates there's no tag in front of the reader. Now what do we do if things go like this? The easiest is if you come from the Arduino background. I showed you that fixed brick, the library I showed you, that can do the job. In fact, I've also explained how to use those libraries in my old videos. So let's try to fix this problem now. So one thing is sure, activate fails. Now we have to do it in a bit of a workaround, okay, like a trick. And the similar trick I have used in the SRIX 4K and SRIX 4K and 512 tags. Now the way you do that is, so I'm going to first put this tick. So there is a message here, it says tick this box only when a UID changeable tag is undetectable, so spelling mistake, by ACR122u. First place any working MIFI tag. So I'm going to place any MIFI tag. It can be ultralight, it can be a MIFI, and click on activate button. So I'm going to do that. So I'm going to place this the first UID, and it's working, and click on activate. Now it says remove this tag, so we're going to remove this tag, and now I'm going to place the tag that is not detectable and which I want to write to block 0. I'm going to take this out and bring this the key fob. So now one surprising thing about this UID changeable tags is you can just write to block 0 without authentication. I'm not sure whether we can do something similar for any block in the entire tag. So I want my UID to be, say, 5678. So I want this my UID. First set everything to 0. It's not required to change the manufacturer data. You can just do the UID. Okay, so I'm going to hit write block. Now I heard a beep sound, so that's a very positive sign. Now looks like we are able to now fix this problem with the UID. Now if you try to activate, so if I try to activate, I'm able to activate this so now you'll come across this problem only if you try to write something UID that starts with 88. Again, okay, read this book. There's a nice explanation on different types of UID. There is a UID I think starts with 08. Look at that. This chart has got some more information about what are the valid UIDs. Look at that, 88 is in this table called cascade tag. Okay, so that's all in this video. Thanks for watching.